Good evening, everyone. I'd like to bring the December 3rd, 2018 reorganization meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors to order. Ms. Caldwell, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Alonso? Here. Mr. Goldsboro?
Here.
Ms. Vericchio? Here. Ms. Joseph? Here. Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Chavone?
Here.
Mr. Phelps?
Here. Mr. Evans, can we have revocation and the pledge, please?
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer, bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District, and grant to this board, in their deliberations this evening, the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anyone from public comment? Mr.
Yes, sir. We have Mr. Zerdy.
Item number 8.1, is this an increase or is this the same rate as was last year?
It's the same.
Same. How about for 8.2?
Yes, that's the same also.
And at your last board meeting, you entered into an agreement with the Interboro Education Support Professionals.
Yes.
And do you have the rates at what you're offering them?
Well, there's multiple rates depending on how many years of class they are.
Okay, and what is that?
Depends which ones they are.
Okay, start out with year number 1. This past July to this one, how much are they getting in an increase?
Starting rate is
So, Mr. Doty, are you asking for this, the overall percentage each year? Is that,
Or what are they getting in a pay increase?
so year one would be approximately 3.2%, year two is a 5.1%, year three is a 3.8%, year four is a 3%, and year five is 1%. So an average of 3.2% over the 5 years.
Okay. And tonight's number 6. The president, I ask that you place into nomination Mrs. Vericchio for president of the board, and I think that would be a good change. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons. She voted no on the budget, but she didn't give a reason as to why she voted no on the budget, which is, for me, I think that people should explain why they vote for a budget or they don't vote for a budget. Mr. Burns, the person who she replaced, gave lengthy explanations as to why he voted no or voted yes for something. But in addition to that, last spring, when you were supposed to have a meeting of some sorts, Mr. Phelps sent out notification to the board directors that the meeting date had been changed. And so then a few days later, the date had been changed again, and you sent out a notice by email. And it came back that Mrs. Vericchio actually said that she had gotten angry because of the change of that date, because she had adjusted her schedule for appointments that she had made. So she indicates that she has some kind of degree of anger for certain things that do not suit her. Now, that's the reason why I bring it up, is because of the airport agreement. She said she doesn't, maybe she will, or you as a board, will again address the issue with the payment for the fixed guaranteed payments. So I'm going to read to you what it says from this airport agreement. On page 3, the tax guarantee and other payments described herein are to replace lost tax revenues. That's the basis by which the fixed guarantee payment is made. Now, the 3 sentences defining the fixed guaranteed payment said that it should be divided equally. This is what the agreement states. But in the last sentence, it says that the taxing authorities covenant that in the event of any dispute among them concerning the allocation of the fixed payment, they shall not involve the city in any way. And it's one of the reasons why I continue to bring it up, because you as a board, Mr. Chabon at the last meeting, during his Finance Committee report, stated that you had been given the index for next year, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you said that you're going to follow the trend of not going above, raising the taxes above the index. Now, you're going to raise our taxes again, so we already have notification before you even started on your budget that we're going to have a tax raise this year, next year, for the next year's budget. So that's what is very troubling, is because you're losing money at the rate of $2,000 a day by not going after this. My representative at the time, Ms. Bernauer, who's no longer on the board, you approved her. Did you approve her resignation?
Yes.
So she said that the solicitor had advised there. Is there any written documentation from the solicitor to indicate what kind of statement or advice she gave saying that you should not go forward to try to recover and adjust that fixed guaranteed payment with the township and the county?
Absolutely.
Mr. Doby, this is an issue that is clearly something that bothers you very deeply. It's unfortunate that you did not attend the public meeting last month, because I sent Ernest Angelos from my office, who is the attorney who negotiated the airport deal, specifically so that he could answer your questions, but you weren't here. And unfortunately, you were here this month and he's not. It's my understanding that the airport deal was a matter that was in litigation for approximately a decade. It is a signed settlement agreement. It has certain provisions, some of which the school district actually received more money than it otherwise would have through that agreement. The one provision that you're speaking of, and I can say this much to you, not having been the one who negotiated it, but I do know this much, involved a lump sum of money that was not subject to the tax percentage that you want it to be. It was a sum of money to be divided among 3 entities. There was an agreement as to how that money was going to be allocated. The only way to reopen a fully executed settlement agreement would be if there is another provision in the contract language that says that there is some reason to do so. It's my understanding, but again, Mr. Angelos could speak more completely to this, that the prerequisites have not occurred, which would allow the school district to reopen the agreement. Again, this is a matter that took a very, very long time to settle, but it did come to settlement.
Okay, so I just read to you what it said in the agreement itself.
Right.
If there is a dispute that arises between the parties, the city is not party to that. I'm not asking you to open up the agreement again. That's not what you're being asked. I'm asking you, as a board of school directors who's responsible for the education of the children, that you're losing money by agreeing to a fixed payment in equal payments. That's the thing. I just stated that it's tax payments. Taxes are property taxes, which is what that fixed payment is about.
No, it wasn't. It was a lump sum
Well,
of money that
that's
was
what
not
it says
subject to
in
the
the
tax
agreement.
percentage. And the statement that you're reading about the city's involvement merely means that the city is not going to become involved in any dispute among the other 3 entities who are subject to the agreement. That's all it means.
Right, because if there is a dispute that, you know, if the language that's stated in this agreement says that if a dispute is arise, that means a dispute can arise at any point in time, and that the city is not going to be a party to it. So if that person who you mentioned, the solicitor who was in the agreement, so if he can come over the next few months, because I'm going to attend the meetings, and I'm going to bring it up, and so maybe he could answer it, since he was in the negotiations itself. But I think that Mrs. Vericchio should be placed into nomination as the president of the Interboro School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Doby. Is there any other public comment, Mr. Evans?
No, sir.
Okay. We gotta jump back to number 3.
Yeah, we should be doing
I'm sorry I passed over number 3. I was so anxious to get the public comments.
All right, item number 3, which was notice of the reorganization meeting. The meeting date was posted in the public notices section of the Daily Times for Interboro School District on Wednesday, November 28, 2018, as follows. Interboro School District public meetings of the Board of School Directors. There will be a board reorganization meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors on Monday, December 3rd, 2018, at 6:30 p.m. in the boardroom of the Administration Building, 900 Washington Avenue, Prospect Park, PA 19076, signed myself, Board Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
You're welcome.
Moving on to number 5, election of temporary president. I'd like to call for nominations.
I nominate Jack Evans.
Anybody else? Motion to close nominations.
Second.
Motion is been moved and seconded. Or we don't need to roll call. Everyone in favor? Mr.
Aye.
Evans, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Mr. President.
Item number 6, election of president to serve from December 3rd, 2018 until the reorganization meeting to be held during the first week in December 2019, as per section 404 of the Pennsylvania School Code. This time I'd like to call for nominations for president.
I nominate Bill Phelps.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'd like to close the nominations. Do I have a motion to close nominations?
Second.
Well, you make the motion.
Motion has been moved and seconded.
And I guess we'll go ahead and elect the school board president, being as there is only one nominee. All those in favor for Mr. Phelps as board president, please say aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Have it.
Then the new president may assume the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Moving on to number 7, election of vice president to serve from December 3rd, 2018 until the reorganization meeting to be held during the first week in December 2019. Section 401 Pennsylvania School Code. Call for nominations for the school board vice president.
I'd like to nominate Justin Spoon.
Any others? Motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Everyone in favor of Mr. Chavon as vice president, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Moving on to number 8, Mr. Evans.
Motion 8.1 to appoint the law firm of Raphael and Pupio as solicitor for Interboro School District and an annual retainer of $2,000 and at an hourly rate of $185. This appointment will be in effect from December 3rd, 2018 until the organization meeting to be held during the first week of December 2019.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 8.2 to appoint the law firm of McNichol, Byrne, and McLawski as solicitor for labor issues at an hourly rate of $235. This appointment will be in effect from December 3rd, 2018 until the organization meeting to be held during the first week of December 2019.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Naming of depository as per section 621 Pennsylvania School Code. Motion that the beneficial bank be named depository for school district funds for a period extending from December 1st, 2018 until the organization meeting to be held during the first week in December 2019.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? And just so everyone knows, this is the bank that we've been dealing with. It's nothing different. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. And next motion, Mr. Evans.
Number 10, approval of time and place of board meetings as per section 421 of Pennsylvania School Code. Motion to define schedule of board meetings to begin at 7 p.m. in which the meetings will be conducted in the boardroom in the administration building, 900 Washington Avenue, Prospect Park, PA, or any facility as noted in the Interboro School District be approved. I'm going to forego the
Dates, yeah.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 11, that the Board of School Directors grant the Solicitor's Office leave to appeal any and all decisions of the County Tax Assessment Appeal Board for the 2019 tax year to the Court of Common Pleas as it deems appropriate.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Yes, what does that mean?
That means that we are giving the attorney the right to, for the tax appeal assessments, to represent us. Anyone that comes in front of the board that wants to have a reassessment or a tax appeal, this gives the attorney the right to represent us for that, to represent the Interboro School District.
In the Court of Common Pleas?
Yes.
And it's due to the time of the year, because December 15th, 2018, all appeals need to be done by, and just for Ernie to be able to come to us, brief us, and we're just giving him a little bit of leeway.
Okay.
Yeah, it would say everything still has to be board approved. It
Oh,
just,
yeah, it's just gives that attorney, the attorney the right to represent us.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 8-0. Comments and announcements from our superintendent?
I would like to congratulate you, Mr. Phelps and Mr. Chabon, and just to thank the board for your continued support of the administrators and staff, and I look forward to another productive year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any board members?
Comment.
Yes, Mr.
I'd just like
Harris.
to apologize for being late. I thought it was 7 o'clock. You're lucky I didn't get a ticket on the way here. But thank you for holding it up for me. I appreciate it, and I apologize.
That's no problem, Mr. Harris. Myself, I would just like to thank the board for how well we are working together, moving forward with this district. The issues that come in front of us that we are dealing with our administration, our teachers, our different unions, everybody has a lot of input, a lot of concern, a lot of good ideas. And I'm proud of each and every one of these, to tell you the truth. I think this is probably one of the best school boards, I think, because you go to some of these other board meetings and they just don't get along. They're just not productive. They're not productive like we are. I think we put a lot of the issues and concerns in front of so many other things, and I appreciate that, and I'm proud to be on this board, and I'm proud to serve as your president.
Mr. Phelps, can I just make a quick comment?
Yes, Mr.
Mr. David, I just wanted to clarify one statement that you said about the tax increase. And we absolutely have not decided to raise taxes this budget season. If anything, the comment that I made at the last meeting is for the directors, for the superintendent, to know that we as a board will not go above the adjusted tax index. So if anything, it's to make sure that they, as they begin their process, you know, they're not coming to us during budget season with a lot of high priced items. So I understand that you may have taken it as us thinking we were going to go to that tax index, but as a board, it's to give the directors and to give the superintendent our view that we are not going above that. So I don't want you to take the impression that we automatically assume that we're going to the 3.1% tax index, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Gill. Okay, the next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the administration building on Monday, December 17th at 2018 at 7 p.m. The next regularly monthly public meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the Administration Building on Wednesday, December 19th, 2018 at 7 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.